to Senior Moments, a production of the Plainfield-Guilford Township Public Library. I'm Nick, and I'm here to share with you some food for thought and some food for fun for this week. Our thought for the week this week is be thankful. Look, I know this isn't exactly an original or creative thing to meditate on, but I think it's especially important this year. Thanksgiving is going to be a lot different for a lot of people this time around, and we all need to look at the things in our lives that are constant and take the time to appreciate them. Conversely, also take the time to examine the things that have changed and think on ways that you can make the most of them in our current situation. Always be thankful and always try to make the best of whatever situation you find yourself in. I've got 2 jokes for you this week. Let's start with the first one. So, there's a state trooper sitting on the highway and just minding his own business when he sees a car go puttering past him at an absurdly slow speed. In fact, it was about 22 miles per hour. So, the trooper goes over and pulls over the car, and there are 4 old ladies inside, 1 driving, and 3 who are absolutely terrified, in shock. Just all the color has drained from their faces, dead silent. And the driver looks at the state trooper and says, "I don't understand why you pulled me over. I was going the exact speed limit." And the state trooper explains that, in fact, she wasn't going the speed limit. She was going so slow that it was actually dangerous. The driver is adamant that she was going the speed limit and says, "I was going the exact speed limit, 22 miles per hour. The state trooper realizes that she thought that the speed limit was actually the route number and explained it. "Ma'am, that wasn't the speed limit. You're on Route 22. The woman, slightly confused and a little embarrassed that she had to be corrected, thanks the officer and is about to go on her way when the state trooper says, "Ma'am, I gotta ask you about your friends. They haven't said a word this entire time and they still look really shaken up. Is everything all right?" And the driver says, "Oh, don't worry about them. They'll be fine in a minute. We just got off Route 119. My second joke is similar. So there's this guy, he's driving around in a truck and he's got some penguins in the back. Police officer pulls him over and says, "Why do you have some penguins in the back of your truck?" The man says, "They're my penguins. They belong to me." And the police officer says, "Sir, you can't have those penguins. You need to take them to the zoo." So the next day, the same cop sees the man drive by and he's still got penguins in the back of his truck. So the man gets pulled over and the police officer storms up to the window and says, "I thought I told you to take those penguins to the zoo." And the man replies, "I did. We had an excellent time. We're going to the beach today." And now for Where Did That Come From?, where I explain the meaning of some idioms that you may be familiar with. Have you ever heard somebody describe 2 inseparable people as being like frickin' frack? Well, did you know that frickin' frack were real people? Frickin' frack were actually a pair of comedic ice skaters from Switzerland, and they made their fame in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in America skating with the Ice Follies, a big touring ice show that I believe has now transformed into the Disney on Ice model. They always skated together and gained a lot of name recognition to the point where they are now invoked by a lot of people who don't really know who they were. The second idiom I'm going to educate you on today is the term "a flash in the pan," which is used to describe something that has a short period of importance and then kind of peters out. So that term has its background in antique firearms. A flintlock weapon works by striking a spark between the flint and steel into a small pan that holds a little bit of gunpowder that is meant to spark the main charge that sends the projectile. Sometimes the spark would go, it would catch the primer charge on fire, but the main charge wouldn't ignite. And so, when you see something that starts out promisingly but doesn't end so good, that's called a flash in the pan. And now for Who Am I? I'm going to describe to you in 5 clues a famous person from the golden era, and you can try to guess who that person is in as few clues as it takes. Here's the first clue. He was born in 1928 as the youngest of 8 children in a French Creole family in New Orleans, and was playing the piano in bars in the city by the age of 14. At the age of 21, he had been signed to Imperial Records and recorded an adaptation of a standard called Junker Blues that eventually sold over 1 million copies. Clue number 3. His first massive pop hit came in 1955 and eventually reached the top 10 on the Billboard charts, with a typically toned-down cover by Pat Boone hitting the #1 spot. He continued his charts presence until 1963 when he left Imperial for ABC Paramount Records. Clue number 4. Although his chart success faded, he still recorded regularly throughout the 60s, but really transitioned his priorities to live performance over recording, and became part of the first class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And clue number 5. He stopped touring in 1995, and for the most part stayed in New Orleans for the next 10 years. However, he and his family lost their home in Hurricane Katrina and wound up staying with his granddaughter's boyfriend at the time, LSU quarterback Jamarcus Russell. He passed away at the age of 89 in 2017. I'll give you a few seconds to think about who this might be. Give up? It's Fats Domino. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you all had as much fun as I did. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep an eye out for other videos as they come along. And remember, always keep smiling.